And we're just waiting to see when we're up and running. I think we are. Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of The Hunting Lodge with me, Johanna. And today we also have moderator Stefan in Skype with us and also Animator Robert.
Hi. Nice to be here.
And we're so glad to have you. I'm super excited that we finally get to show off the new game a little bit more.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell them shortly what it is you do on the project?
Well, I'm the senior animator on the project. I do everything animated, like animals, weapon animations, first-person animations, and third-person animations.
I think that sounds very cool, and we're gonna go more into the details about it. And as well, if you guys in the chat have any questions, feel free to ask them and we will see if we can reply, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So all questions are very welcome. That's what the stream is for. That's why we have a member of the dev team with us. So all of the questions in regards to animations, and that can be animals or weapons, whatever it is. So you can, now is your chance for 1 hour to ask Robert about everything that has to do with animations.
Exactly. And I just took the steering wheel here, but so basically this is Hirschfelden, and as we can see, it's pretty empty, obviously. It's gonna take us a little bit to find some animals, of course. Have you played this a lot, or have you focused more on your work?
That's the thing. I haven't played it that much, like actually play the game. What I do is basically
There should be a track nearby.
I edit the game, or edit the assets of the game, and of course every day I'm inside the game to actually test the things that I do. That's one of the crucial steps in development. But it's like I haven't actually played the game like a regular player would play it from start to finish.
That's quite unusual, I say, in general.
Yeah. I would agree, because as soon as you're working on a game, you see it with different eyes. So you kind of always have certain things in mind when you roam through the world. That's at least the experience that I made when I was working on different games. It's like people who play the game or who bought the game see it with completely different eyes.
Yeah.
This makes so much noise, though. Just going around in the bushes. Can really tell if you look at the meter down in the right corner. But I'm quite curious, Robert. Like, how did you decide, like, animation? That's what I want to do.
Well, like from the start, I think art has always been close at hand. I've always drawn or painted. Much more drawings than paintings, I'd say. I'm colorblind, so I sort of avoided the colors and actually avoiding the risk of messing that up, basically. Which is why animation might be something, or I found is something good for me, because it's not that dependent on color. Like having a good color sight. What's it called?
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the things that I found interesting.
It sounds like you really turned like something that some people may consider as not as much of a strength, and really turned it into like what you do and what you're good at.
Well,
Oh, that's sad though. Do you want to have a go at it?
no, please.
No? Okay,
I
then
let
I
you
will
play.
continue.
You're probably more in the comfort zone.
Oh, you never
playing
know. But yeah, I think that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
In general, like, animation has so much more to it than what I think is visible to the eye in general.
That is absolutely true. So I was speaking to Robert yesterday, actually. We were sitting down and he was talking me through a few parts of the animation process, and he was showing me some models and animations that he had done. And there are so many bits and bobs that you wouldn't even think about. Like he showed me an animation of a deer that would just turn to run away. And there were so many different nuances in there about the movements of the different limbs and the head movement, neck movement, and so on. So very interesting to see. There, by the way, there is also going to be a blog post out, and I will include some of the animations in there, so you guys can see it from Robert's perspective, how it looks like in the tool when he's working on it. So that's going to be pretty interesting, because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than most people would imagine.
It's super exciting, I think, to really get it going. But I'm curious though, for those who don't know, what would you say? What are like the first steps when you start? Let's say I give you a model of a deer. What would be your first steps?
Well, like the first steps would be to actually research a lot how an animal works. Not only in terms of like the physical aspects, like, well, you of course you got to know how the muscles affect the skeleton, which in order affects the like the skin, and like if you have a model, what we see is only like the surface of it.
Yeah.
What an animator needs to consider is like how the muscles affect the inside of the animal. That's one part of the research, and another part of the research is how the actual species would behave in terms of group behavior, in terms of what they actually do during a day.
It's really interesting. That has a lot more research to it than I could ever have imagined, to be honest.
So one of the things that I worked on this project is I spent a lot of time with the wild boar, and the more videos I looked at, and the more I studied this species, it became more and more interesting, and I almost felt like I would get to know them, and like
Oh, that's so cool.
like, yeah, I know what that means when they do this, and can see when they're hungry, or can see what they're up to, if they're scared or attentive, or so. And actually, that's one of the things that I think is important to incorporate into the game and the game's animation.
I can imagine. Like, would you say that? Let's say if you saw a real boar, would you be more like? Would you understand their body language after all the studies you've done?
I wouldn't say that. I would probably be. I would probably be scared if I saw a boar. They can be quite dangerous.
That's true.
But it depends. I mean, I can probably see if that boar is scared as well. I don't know if that would make it attack or flee.
That's
I don't
a
know.
good question.
Fight or flight.
Let's see if we can call from here. Maybe.
What are you tracking?
I believe it's a deer. Let's see if we can check here. Yeah, it's a fallow deer. Did I use the right color? Are there different ones for them? I'm just used to it being the normal color, you know? Seems to be... Because we have one of these as well.
So Pixel just asked an interesting question. He said, I noticed a lot of new animations during the beta. My question is, does the new game engine allow for more and better animations? So what would you say is kind of the difference of the engine of the Hunter Classic versus Call of the Wild in terms of possibilities with animations that you can do?
Well, one of the major differences is of course the engine, but of course technology has more room for more animations, performance-wise, higher frame rates, maybe. The tools we have developed and the tools we use gets better and better every year. So I would say many aspects contribute to making better animations. I mean, we try to make a lot of animations for the animals so that they have and show different behaviors and show the behaviors that we want them to show. I mean, even if we research a whole lot about every animal, there are probably hunters out there playing the hunter that will spot even better than we do what an animal does, and maybe that's not important to the general audience.
Yeah.
But it's important to some, and I think that's one of the things that we need to take care of as when delivering like such a realistic hunting experience, that the animations and the animals look like real animals and behave like real animals.
I think you're right. It's more unforgiving might be the wrong word, but people in the hunter community in general has such a broad knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's definitely...
And I mean, even if we read up on a lot of things around hunting and around animals and weapons and what it is, then there is always someone out there who's going to know better than we. And I think we shouldn't just disregard that, and we need to make as good as we can. That's that's something that we always strive to improve.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good answer. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's such a broad topic. Also, I mean there is so much you can go into and so much you can talk about when it comes to that topic. We have another question about the animals. So I don't know if I pronounce, is it DJ Merlin 2? I think it's DJ Merlin 2, yeah. Are there going to be the same amount of animals like in Classic upon release, or are there going to be DLCs for that? So I think that's, well, how many animals does Classic have? Now I have to count.
That's a good question. I know it's over 30.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Classic.
It's a lot of them.
But I think a good answer for this one, I would say, is that you will definitely find out
Yeah.
soon.
Very, very soon. I mean, it's not long to go now.
No. Wouldn't want to spoil a surprise, I say.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, as for the question for the reserves, that has been asked a few times now, so it's going to be Hirschfelden upon release.
We are not getting closer to this deer, I feel.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I'm calling it with my color, but I lost the tracks of it actually, which is a little unfortunate. So I suppose we could stand up and then try to find some new tracks instead. I think this one ran away. Well, that happens. Oh, we have a track here. Let's see if we can check it out. What could it be? What could it be? It's a fallow deer trotting. I think we can stand up. Let's follow and see if we find anything else.
I wonder if it's the same.
Yeah, maybe it is. But I think that the tracks were white, so it should be one of the other deer mates. This would be a good place to see it from, though. I feel like we'll have a good overview of the shoreline here. Oh, did you hear that echo?
Yeah.
That's so immersive. So if we look at like things like, we have our weapon here. I can't reload it now, but is this one of the animations that you worked on?
Not exactly this one. I think that one is made by Jose.
Okay.
which was the lead animator on this project.
All right.
But that is typically one of the animations that I would work on. I didn't do it just for this weapon, I think. I did for a lot of other weapons. I mean, a lot of us animators, we work on each other's weapons. Like, we don't have exactly like one weapon that we own or anything, but we might have one weapon that someone has started and worked like the majority of the animations on, and then someone else need to go in there and just fix something or add an animation or tweak a little bit.
So you could say that it's more of a collaboration for them.
Absolutely.
But I had like one course when I went to university with animation actually. And I think what I thought was the trickiest part was like making the skeleton for the animation. Would you mind explaining like what that is? Because that's something you don't really see at all.
Yeah, that's something that the players never experience. Well, so typically what drives the models are a piece of a hierarchy of bones, really, inside the model. So basically everything that has to move, especially with internal parts, like all the characters, all the animals, all the weapons, they need to be what we call rigged. What's it called, someone?
Ooh, a call. It's a warning call, which means that it's pretty close.
Or heard you.
Might have heard me. Should we do a call and see what happens?
Like every time I play, and I know I'm close to an animal, I sort of tend to be very silent myself.
Me
like
too.
It would hear.
It's like you hold your breath.
Yeah, it kind of carries over, like
Exactly.
the intensity carries over.
That's good, I think.
Like screen.
It's immersion, I suppose.
I'm afraid I might have spooked it.
Well, so the skeleton anyway is made up of maybe hundreds of bones. The skeleton parts drive the skin, which is basically the skin is like the model that you see. So what we animate is never really the model themselves. It's actually the skeleton or controllers on the skeleton.
Where did it come from?
I think it came from the left.
The left? Oh, I can hear something.
So Ravenous Fox, I don't know if this is an answer that you can give, or if somebody else would know more about this. But Ravenous Fox is asking, has anything changed with the weapons wheel from closed beta? Is it more easy to use? So do you mean the weapons feel, or?
I'm a little unsure. Because what you can do now, if you want to scroll through your equipment, you can just use the mouse wheel or the buttons, basically.
So I actually found it pretty decent, to be honest.
I think it's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
Come on, dear.
Well, the only answer I have for that is that we constantly work on all weapons and try to improve them, especially if something's not working. And especially close to release, we try to every day assess the need for improvements.
I would say that it's a never-ending project to improve a game. Like, there are always new things you can do.
Like, a game is never finished, as well as an animation is never finished. Like, there's always work to be done on anything, really.
What was that sound? Oh, It's not a warning call though. Let's be quiet.
Maybe you can sneak around that tree.
Yeah. I'll try not to make so much noise. Let's walk really carefully, shall we? You can see on the really cool meter down there.
No.
Really trying to go slowly about this.
Ravenous Fox, I think that yeah, Johanna is just scrolling through it, right?
You can
When
both
you're
scroll.
changing, you're just scrolling.
I'm actually using the buttons because I'm
Oh, okay.
a little more used to it. But like for now, I'm just scrolling through them, and you can't really tell the difference unless I would have told you. But I think it's nice because some people are more used to. What is that sound? Can you hear running?
Yeah.
Oh no, did we spook them? Really? I didn't even see them. But they sure were running. Sounded like
Maybe
a
they saw
herd.
you and
Yeah.
took off.
Yeah,
But where are
TK
they?
Monkman, it will have multiplayer functionality. The game. And I think that's one of the big things everybody's looking forward to go hunting with their friends.
I think hunting together is more fun.
Yeah.
It definitely is. During the beta, I was hunting with 2 of my friends, and it's definitely more fun.
I think so too. It's like for now we're only like one character in game, but it's still social because we have each other.
Yeah.
I feel like this should be right over here, but maybe they moved. What was that sound? Oh my, it's right in front of us? Where is it though? Can't see it. There's so many bushes in the way. Should we just try to stay here and call it in? As I said, I'm not sure which color is the right one, so I'm just gonna use both. Just to make sure.
I wonder what that means for an animal.
That's
Like,
a good question, if you call both of them.
if it's like honking the horn for a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, get out of the way. Come here. Get out of the way.
Might be just below this hill then, but I'm kind of scared to move too much closer because it's so noisy.
Yeah, that's always a big danger. So I see many questions for sound in the chat there, and I would say if you guys tune in next Thursday, we will have Greg with us, and Greg is actually one of our sound designers, and all the questions that you have about sound, sounds in the game, be it environment sound or animal sounds, and so on and so forth, I would say Greg's your man to answer all of these questions. So next Thursday, 4 p.m. CAT, just same as today, we're going to be online with Greg. So all of your sound questions, you can ask him then.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to hear what it has to say as well. What are those noises, right? It's like, oh, it sounds so close. But I still can't see it.
It's gotta be
It has to be here, right?
just behind the tree line there.
Because I mean, we have to get something, right? We had to be able to hunt something down. Let's get slowly closer. Let's use both the collars just in case. Where do I have the other one? Is it here? No? There we go. Because we want to have a look at some animations, right?
Yeah.
Some animal animations. And I wonder if it can actually be down here. I see a track here.
It's moving. I think.
Did you see it?
No, I heard it.
Oh,
Or maybe that was you.
it
I
might
heard
have
footsteps.
been. I feel like we should be able to see it from here. It was obviously just down here.
Yeah.
Now it's moved. Let's see if we can call it again then. I'm not sure which are the colors.
Yeah, and I see there are also some questions around the exclusive items. So it is all described in the announcement we put up last week. So if you go to Steam and if you go to Call of the Wild to the group, then this will be in the news section. And everything that you want to know about the exclusive items, you can find all of the information there.
It's a good place to find things.
Yep. And if you want to stay up to date, you also follow us on Steam and join the group, and then you will get all of the notifications whenever we post an update.
There's another warning call. I can see the antler. That's an antler, right? It's right there. We just have to move a little bit. I don't want to shoot it in the head. That's not very ethical.
No.
There. Use your
Okay,
binoculars to
let's
get a
do it.
closer look.
Oh, we got it!
got it.
Can I have a high five? Yeah!
Nice.
Good job.
Is it
It's
just
wounded.
wounded? Oh no, we're gonna have to shoot it again. Oh, I'm sorry.
Be sure to aim for its vital organs.
Okay.
Heart and lung shots mean quicker kills,
Heart and
less
lung.
painful.
The heart should be placed about here, I believe.
Yeah.
Or the lungs. Here we go. No, no, no.
It's bleeding, so that's a hit.
Is it
Follow the
just...
blood trail
It's
and find it. Shouldn't have gone far.
No, it's right here, so it definitely hasn't... Ah, there we go. My goodness. So, animation-wise, that was pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like we didn't really get to spot the animal from afar in their comfortable environment. But like once you see several animals just eating or drinking or being totally unaware of you, then you get to see the animals a bit more up close and get to see what they do, and I think that's quite interesting.
And that's when you see that they don't have like the exact same moving pattern as well, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if we have a look, I mean, obviously the skeleton for animation doesn't quite look like a skeleton.
Not exactly like this.
But maybe it gives a bit of a gesture.
Well, it has the same.
If you want to get your
Joint
bearings,
placing.
there are lookout points spread out all over the reserve.
So there are similarities, and that's why we call it skeletons and not controllers only, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It works the same way. It holds up the animal character.
Well, I think it's really.
But then again, like a weapon doesn't have skeleton structure at all. But that's the way we control.
There's no shortage of ways to earn
the
money as a
models.
hunter. No shortage of ways to spend it either.
Let's see, are we standing up? Yeah. Now we've spooked everything pretty far and wide around us.
I would say so too.
Can run a little bit. Shouldn't run in the woods, but after you've spooked everything, that's okay.
Yeah, you have to go for a little walk.
A warning call again. That's what you get for running in the woods. But what would you say is, since animals that's more how should I say this? It's easier, I think, to understand how a bone structure would look. But for a weapon, would you say that how do I describe this in a good way? For a body, it's easy to see where the bones would be, but for a weapon, how do you know where to place the bones or the skeleton?
The bones really have each bone has a different, or has a functionality of its own. Like you can either move or rotate around one of the bones main axis, if you want. So for every piece on a weapon, for instance, that needs to move, we would need one joint. I can show you, since you already or just shot an animal. You can shoot again if you just bring up the bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
So in this case, now we don't see any moving parts, but if you reload it, or if you shoot and then...
Let's see if I can reload it. Yeah, there we go.
He does one of these reload cycles. Yeah, exactly. So in this case, the magazine and the actual bolt would need joints of their own.
Okay.
Because those are moving parts on the model. I suppose you could just animate models, and because every model has their own pivot point, and that you can actually rotate or translate or move or scale also. But we've decided that we're going to go for bone structure in each moving model. That was the easiest for us.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Pixel just wrote, I love all the new reload animations. And I remember when I sat down next to you, you were showing me some reload animations there. So, and they looked pretty decent, yeah.
Nice.
I also think that you can really tell that this is a new... I keep losing my words today. Well, basically, like, we have a new engine, the Apex engine, and the technology has really moved forward since the Hunter Classic, and
Definitely.
it feels a lot like smoother, I would say, in general.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I think that's makes it more immersive as well,
Yeah.
because it feels more natural in a way.
Yeah, when I was playing the beta also together with my friends, we were in TeamSpeak, and we were talking about actually the graphics and like the smoothness of the game, and it's pretty impressive, yeah.
But it's always like this, like when something is improved to a higher standard. I mean, model-wise, we have texture-wise, lighting and shadows, the technology itself, all the effects. When everything goes up in quality, so does the animation. Like, it has to, because we're approaching a much more real look to a still image, and when things start moving, they need to move as real as the rest of the environment look.
Yeah.
And I think we have such a good-looking environment. I mean, with the water, with the lighting, all the vegetation, everything. So that creates that forces us animators to actually animate more real or realistic. So it increases the pressure also, but it also opens up for new possibilities for us to animate with the new tech.
So, could you say that it's, as much as it's a blessing, it might also be like something you have to make sure to live up to?
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's one of the joys in it. I mean, when you animate an animal, then you want it to look like that animal looks and moves. So it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. It's a fun way.
Where is it? pretty wicked. An animal has seen you. Okay. Yeah, I guess we can just kind of just have to stand here and try not to be visible.
So while we're walking through the world, is there anything where you would say this is your absolute favorite part about the game? Not depending on if you have worked on it or if you have created it yourself, but just your general favorite part about it.
Well, my favorite part about the game is really how everything flows together, and how it all connects. I mean, the trees and everything moves to the weather, and the sound is also very dependent on the weather. So I would say like the general feel is my favorite part. So when all
being part of that world, basically.
Yeah,
like
well,
you're not all. It doesn't. It feels more like you in the game.
yeah, definitely, and a lot so, with everything that comes together, like you have the environment looking good and feel good and sound good and everything to that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part, because all the assets contribute to that feeling, and that's what we're trying to achieve. Like I mean, even if I try to make as real animations as I can,
Yeah.
and that's because I want it to be part of this world that already looks so real.
Yeah. So that kind of pushes you as well, to like give it 100% and make sure that this as a hunting game lives up to the expectations, and the expectations are high, and we all know that, because the Hunter Classic is a pretty fantastic game.
Yeah, but that's an inspiration. I think it is good to have high expectations, and even if I feel from either community or colleagues or what it is, if there are high expectations, then I'm willing to spend that time and do my absolute best, if that contributes to this immersive feeling.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Pixel has asked a question here about animations of water. Did you do any animations for water, or did you only work on like the animal animations, weapons and so on?
I did not work on animations for the water. I think that's a simulation or procedurally made.
Okay.
I really can't say how it's done, because I'm not involved in that part at all. But I hope there's someone in an upcoming stream that can answer that question.
Yeah,
better
possibly.
than I can.
Possibly, yeah. But I found overall also during the beta, like water animations and everything looked pristine in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and I mean we can see it here. We're pretty close to the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't quite rendered from this distance, I believe, but...
Yeah, but I also, it's super confusing because I'm looking at the stream with a 30-second delay.
Oh, yeah.
So like, yeah, we're close to the water, but in fact, in the middle of the forest.
What is there? Oh, I thought I heard something. Is there anything down on the shoreline? I don't think so. Can you hear something walking? Where is it coming from? It sounds like it's coming from in front of us. It's a little hard to say. Let's keep calling, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge how much work really goes into all these details that people might not even see.
Yeah, this is that's the thing, because everything that has to do with animations is constantly visible. So everything, if you switch a weapon, or if you shoot something, or if you watch an animal, it's constantly there, and it's so present that you actually do not even think about it anymore. It's just there, and so you don't really question it anymore. But like the amount of work and the many hours of work and the research that goes into this, and also to develop the skill to being able to craft such a model or like a movement animation, the years of experience that you have to have in order to do this it's a lot. And then keeping in mind that it's not one single person working on animations alone, so you have to have a little team for it. That's something that I, for example, in the past, when I was not working for a games company, wasn't even thinking about. It was just like, yeah, there's a game and stuff happens.
Well, it's about expectations also. Looking at not only this game but games in general.
Yeah.
The quality constantly goes up. Games have more animations. They have better animations for every year. Something that we need to follow, and also that's. I mean, animation is not only it's not only the animation department that is in this situation, like or in this position. I think all categories need to constantly up their game, so to speak, which is also one of the most inspiring and fun parts about game development, is to constantly see a team of very, very experienced people working together towards a common goal.
I really have to agree with you on that. Like, just seeing this amount of effort and talent being put into like one final product.
Yeah,
that's something you kind of. I think we're lucky to experience that in a way. It's a very, very cool thing. But I suppose that's also what we want to share as much as possible with you guys, because we want to show you how incredibly cool it can really be to make games.
No, and that's also so. I remember my first day when I started working for a games company. My first day there, I was completely overwhelmed, because I've been a gamer for so long, and then finally being involved into the actual creation process of a game was just completely overwhelming. You don't know where to look, you don't know who to talk to next, because there's just so much interesting stuff happening. And every morning when I walk in the door here and I see people working on the game and just creating stuff from nothing, because this is also something we talked about, is you have to imagine if you start in an editor with nothing. There is just nothing there, and then all of this is being created out of from you can see like a gray floor, and that's it, and then everything is being added on top of this. And that's what I find so fascinating, is game design or game creation is creating something from absolutely nothing. It's just an idea. And then you suddenly have a deer there that's moving like it is in real life, and you can see the smallest details when it's eating grass or when it's fleeing or just roaming. And that's what I find so fascinating about game creation, and this is what gets me every day.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I'm wondering, let's say if somebody wants to learn how to animate or become good at animation, what would you say would be like a good way to do it? So where do you start?
Wow. Well, you have certainly got the interest already. If you find out that you are curious about animation, I would say hold on to what is keeping you curious and inspired. take notes and sort of remember why you wanted to become an animator, or what caught the interest from the start. You might lose the interest along the way if for example, if you run into too many obstacles or find it too hard. And animation is hard sometimes. It can be really hard, and it can be really daunting. But I mean, once you figure something out, it is definitely one of the most rewarding crafts, I think. It's extremely rewarding to see something come alive, to see something start to move, and when you feel that either when you view it or someone else watches your animation, and you feel that that movement is right for that character, that's something that I hope everybody gets to experience, especially aspiring animators.
But I have to agree, like, I think the movement is what gives something life. I think that's one of the biggest parts, how it can relate to game characters or animals. It feels real because of how it moves.
I mean, it's what makes the life in the characters, I think. It wouldn't be, I mean, you can, most people, like Stefan mentioned, it's like you take for granted that these animals move in a way, and even more so when they look real. So someone can, maybe an unexperienced eye can probably not tell exactly what is wrong with an animation, but someone or anyone could probably tell when it looks wrong.
Oh, that's true.
Which is why it's so important that the animations look right. Because I mean, if an animation is completely off, then that is so immersion breaking that it can break the whole experience for someone. I wouldn't say like a little disclaimer, I wouldn't say all animations in this game is perfect. I know that I hope that you will experience the animals as intended.
But I think that's it's a good thing that you say it, because that means that you see potential to make things even better.
Yeah, definitely.
And things are always going to be... It's always going to be possible to make things better.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're never really done with an animation.
Exactly.
And I imagine that's being a big part why you're so talented as well, for pushing yourself.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to push yourself all the time, and in this industry, I think. But back to the question.
Yeah.
If someone really wants to learn how to animate, I know I started from scratch, really knowing nothing. What I understood from my childhood was that animation was basically a series of frames, and when the frames were different, it looked like something was moving. Basically, that's as much as I knew. So when I started animating, that was basically me experiencing or experimenting rather with movement and really trying new things out, like a new tool, like how does this new brush work, or how does this pencil work, or so when it wasn't until several years on my career that I actually started picking up animation books.
Yeah?
and then I sort of took it to a higher level that I definitely wanted to learn this. So I started reading and actually finding out that some of my the thoughts I had about animation, there was someone else who had experimented with the exact same thing, and they had names on it. So it was quite like a relief that someone else had been in my situation and tried the same things and run into the same problems.
That's a good thing about if you have like a fluent exchange going about things with other people, and sometimes I know when you create things, you may feel like you're in your own little bubble, and then you run into a wall, and maybe in German we have a saying, you don't see the forest because it's full of trees. So
that's a good saying, actually.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the same thing here. So sometimes you're so involved into the project or so involved into the thing that's happening that you may not even see where you're going wrong. So it's always good to have an exchange going.
Yeah. And also, like, if you know an animator or know someone who knows an animator, don't be afraid to approach that animator and sort of pick their brain on whatever they know. I've never met an animator that is not willing to share what they know.
Sounds like a friendly group of people.
Yeah, I believe it is. I hope so. I couldn't speak for all animators, of course, but and I mean, everybody's different. So
that's
sure.
true.
But,
sure, there are always people who are very secretive about their craft and who are like, nah, I'm just gonna keep all of the secrets to myself, not gonna share anything about this. But I think in order to move forward, and especially if you're working in a team or in a community of people who create something, it is very important to not be kind of the lone wolf, but to exchange so that everybody is benefiting from it in the end.
Yeah.
Should be here.
And also, you can always give it a try. I mean, see it like this: what do you have to lose? If that person doesn't share, then fine.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm all for sharing. So.
That's very true. Yeah.
Since we get the mating call from here, I'm pretty sure we
something
did.
from the left.
What's from the left? I think it might have been my movement, the character's movement. Let's call out and see if we get something.
But also there are lots of good schools out there now. I remember that when I started animating, there were no like locally we didn't have any educations for animation at all. So later, when I had already been working in the industry for like 7 or 8 years, I felt that I needed to really work on my basics, like things that I had sort of missed or really learned myself. No one had never even taught me those things, like. So I couldn't know for sure if they were.
So you were like to a certain point. It's safe to say you were completely self-taught.
Exactly.
And you were already just to get this straight. So you were self-taught, but you were already working on games.
Yes.
That's actually pretty impressive.
I have been working on games.
Because usually, people go to a private school for this, because most of crafts like that. I don't know exactly how it is in Sweden, but I know that in many other countries, you will have to pay for a school for graphic design, or there are even computer games academies out there, and they're usually pretty expensive. So you go there for 2 or 3 years and spend a lot of money, have a lot of classes, and if you imagine you take all of the content that you learn there especially about such a complicated topic like animations, and you teach it to yourself, just learning by doing basically and experimenting around. That's pretty impressive.
I did exactly that. I experimented around and sort of learned by doing.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that during those days, the techniques were not that advanced as they are now. So what they teach at schools today, in animation schools, is a lot harder than what I was dealing with on a daily basis. But even so, I have been working in the games industry for 7 years or 8 years, I think. When I attended animationmentor.com. Which is an online animation school, which
That's cool.
everyone can or anyone can attend. So that's also one solution to becoming an animator. I mean, it helps a lot to have a professional animator tutoring you every week.
Yeah.
For a year and a half. That's really good.
I'm a bit curious, I must say. Did you know from the start that you wanted to work with video games in particular?
Not really. As I mentioned before, I was always into art and experimenting with art. So I sort of it grew on me, and I saw an opportunity. And I've always been interested in games, but I mean, as a child, I didn't really exactly know what it meant to be a game developer. Well, they didn't have like the big studios they have now. You could probably form a team out of 5 people and release a game.
Yeah.
Which well, you can today also, but it's probably going to look more like an indie game, which is not bad at all. But
No, I mean, there are some really high quality indie games out there
for
these
sure.
days, which was impossible. I would say let's look back 10 years. You know, you would have never gotten the quality that you have now with engines that you can use basically for free.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially on so small teams, as they do. Sometimes, I mean, indie developers are sometimes alone. They can do it on 1 or 2 people only, which is something you couldn't do for 10 years back. But so no, I really didn't see that as a profession really, as a child.
Yeah.
But then when I realized what it means to be an animator and what the opportunities are, I definitely saw it as one of the major tracks that I would take.
Okay, we have it.
It's coming towards you.
Oh no. Oh. We didn't have time to look at the animations again.
So,
That's so annoying. We can see a little bit though.
Yeah.
We can see a little bit. It was a female, this one. Very close all of a sudden.
wow.
That's interesting.
Wow, you're a fast learner.
Look at that. In the head. That's not very ethical, is
No.
it? Unfortunately.
It's one of the things I keep on doing. I try to really shoot it the ethical way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the way to do it too.
That's one of the most interesting things about this game, I think.
I agree, and I think that's also something you learn. Yeah, we're getting a lot of points, that's why the noise is going on and on. But I think that's such a huge part of like the Hunter universe, and it takes some time, I think, when you're starting out fresh as like a new Hunter player to grasp those parts.
Yeah. Especially like before the Hunter, when I didn't know anything about hunting, I think I didn't think there was anything interesting in hunting. I just thought like hunters wanted to kill animals and they went out into the woods and tried to shoot animals. I never really understood the whole depth of it, and that's also something that comes from the research within game development that we have to do, and something that has shaped me from the Hunter, especially from the Hunter Classic. That has really sort of not caught my interest because I wouldn't really want to go out and hunt, but I think it's a very beautiful part of being a hunter. Like if you there's a whole the whole ethic aspect of it.
I definitely think it's more to it than what meets the eye.
Yeah.
I would say. Is that an animal? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right behind there. I think. It's a little hard to say. Maybe we can... Oh, we can see an antler. Oh, there's something wrong with this one.
I think it's kind of stuck.
Yeah. I don't really want to shoot it in the head either. Let's see if we can go around. We're actually starting to run out a little of time here, but
Yeah.
let's go for this one as last one. Get it out of its misery. Wasn't it right here? Or am I looking at the wrong tree now? Was it right here? No? Oh, it was this tree, wasn't it? Am I looking at the wrong tree?
I don't know.
It might have run away.
Down by the water.
Yeah.
We have to go around that
Confused,
big rock.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, there.
Yeah, I think it would just be worth to call out again that we're playing on a pre-release version here.
Yes.
So
that's
this is still very much work in progress. So
Yeah.
this is not by any means a finalized version of the game, as it says in the top left corner.
Yeah.
But I thought like calling it out, because obviously if you play on pre-release versions, there will always, especially if you're streaming, if you're presenting it, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You do something and
go.
it goes well 10,000 times. As soon as somebody else is around, suddenly it goes wrong.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah, that's always the thing.
But we got him unstuck. So it's now free to run the woods of Hirschfelden. But I think that's about what we have time for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that went by hella fast.
It went very
Yeah.
fast. And I hope that everybody got their questions responded to regarding animation. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been really interesting, and I definitely think we learned a lot today. I don't think I'm only speaking for myself here.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time in the watching also.
Yeah, and we will be back on Tuesday actually. So we will be doing the hunting lodge on Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on. So
Yep.
stay tuned. It's going to be the same channel, same time, but on Tuesday and then on Thursdays.
Exactly, and it's I'm just checking who will be there next Tuesday. It's gonna be Björn. Yeah, Björn. You may have seen Björn on the interview that Johanna and I did that we posted up
yeah.
on YouTube. And he is one of our designers for weapons and equipment. So he's going to be with us next week. So that should be pretty interesting too.
I think so too. So definitely keep an eye out. If you get the time, just check our social media. We'll put it there too.
Yeah, and we're going to announce it on Steam as well. So if you go to Steam, the Hunter Call of the Wild, you can join the group, and then you will get all of the updates there. Same for our Call of the Wild Twitter channel.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you in a few days' time. Hope you guys have a good evening.
Yeah.
Bye. Happy hunting, guys.
Happy hunting. Take care. Bye bye.